That should be determined by a qualified health professional, since losing lean tissue can lead to a lot of health consequences and definitely a lot of decreased performance. So that's not a goal that we typically like to have during our fight camps. But in that special case, if you do need to sacrifice some muscle mass, creatine isn't going to be appropriate in this time. Okay, so this was the timeline breakdown and the dosage and timing of creatine use. So since my athlete that I was working with in this case was never on creatine before, and his lean mass alone weighed the same amount of his weight class, the goal wasn't really to significantly increase muscle mass, but instead maintain the lean mass during this camp and preserve his strength throughout the duration of this camp as well. So for weeks 1 through 8, we did 5 to 10 grams of creatine per day. And then starting on week 9 is when we initiated that washout period. This was decided, since this was the athlete's first time taking the supplement and we wanted to remove any chance of extra water retention and kind of see how he reacted to it. That's why we kind of initiated this 4-week washout period. But one way that you guys can implement this, if you have been on creatine before, I would suggest not so much a washout period, but a strategy in which you kind of titrate down your dose. So for example, like with this fighter, we were doing up to 10 grams of creatine per day. But maybe when it came to that last month of, approaching his fight, let's say our fight day is right here, we got 4 weeks. Instead of stopping the creatine completely, what we could have done is maybe titrate down the dose. So, we're doing about 10 grams a day. So maybe week 9, we bring it down to 5 grams a day. And then week 10, we decrease that to 3 grams a day. Week 3, bring that down again to maybe about 2 grams a day. And then that last week only do maybe like a gram of creatine per day. And we can initiate that throughout the entire fight week leading up to weigh-in. So we're not in that case getting rid of the creatine at all, and it shouldn't have any extra water retention at all when it comes to weigh-ins. So in that case, that would be a really great way to kind of titrate down the dosage, so you're not getting rid of it, you're still maintaining all those great benefits, especially those neuroprotective benefits for my fighters, which is really important leading up to the fight. So again, in this case with my fighter, we did a complete washout of it, 4 weeks leading up to weigh-ins. Fighter made weight successfully, and then after weigh-ins, what we did was we added 10 grams of creatine to the rehydration beverages that also contained electrolytes and some simple carbs. So again, creatine kind of helps facilitate that sugar or glucose back into our muscles, therefore enhancing glycogen resynthesis and water reabsorption, which are both the major goals after weighing in. Even if you guys don't take creatine regularly, I would still highly suggest implementing it into your post-weigh-in regimen.